Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic, and welcome back to the channel. And today, for you guys, is another, review. We're here again, right? It feels like it's been a long time, but I don't really think it has been. We're reviewing another Star Wars show. It is officially out on Disney Plus, and we're talking about Star Wars Skeleton Crew. The first 2 episodes are on Disney Plus now. If you haven't checked them out, make sure to go watch them. This is obviously, it's the newest Star Wars show, but this is, we're in this era, and I'm not going to really talk about it, but we're in this era where, there's a lot of hate, obviously. It's been like that since basically Return of the Jedi, and it's not going to stop. But if you guys want, actual Star Wars content that isn't people complaining about the left or the right or Kathleen Kennedy or blacks or sexists or Asians or whites or whatever, and you just want actual Star Wars content that isn't revolved around politics, please make sure to go subscribe and hit the like. Really do appreciate it. We don't talk about any of that here. I don't talk about any of that here. I love Star Wars. I always have. Is it perfect? No, but I genuinely love this franchise, and I really, really want to kind of stress that. I'm going to be having a review on Star Wars Outlaws soon. I actually finally finished that. It took me, 80 hours, so I'm going to have that review up soon. But obviously, Skeleton Crew is still pretty fresh in everyone's minds. I wanted to get this, out a lot sooner, but of course, homework and all that fun stuff. But we're here, right? And I watched them. And, upon Disney and Disney Plus, right, we've got a lot of Star Wars shows, right? We've got, obviously, the animated stuff like Clone Wars, Rebels, Resistance, Bad Batch, all that. Those are all phenomenal. And then we've been getting these new live-action shows like Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think those are great, too. The Acolyte. I freaking love The Acolyte. I think it's one of the best Star Wars shows. I'm super pooper pantied that I didn't get a Season 2, even though everyone else wants a Season 2. Apparently, it was going to have 3 seasons and a film, so thank the racists and sexists for that one, right? Thanks a lot, guys. Or just the idiots that don't pay attention. They count too, I guess. But yeah, I love The Acolyte. I think it's a brilliant show. And, upon going into this, I was like, okay, I'm excited for Skeleton Crew because I love Star Wars, but I'm also really nervous because if this underperforms, or, you get enough haters or sexists or racists or trolls or what, all the horrible people that are quote-unquote fans, and they mock it, and they, bully the kids, and they go crazy, and oh my god, there's a woman, what I mean? We gotta go crazy because there's a woman, and it really does suck that, those fans kind of dictate, sadly, a lot of this franchise, because, normal people that I've talked to, parents and friends and family and people online that aren't haters, they all love Acolyte. They actually also love Skeleton Crew, which is great. I love Skeleton Crew. Is it perfect? No, but I think that, it has a good, amount of energy to it, which, this was billed as a Steven Spielberg-esque, Goonies, E.T., classic 80s style, maybe even a bit of Gremlins, just 80s style stuff that you kind of are familiar with. And yeah, the marketing has it, right? The marketing's got that, remember a time when, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's there, right? But when you actually sit down and watch it, I think they really, really, that's one of the strongest aspects so far. Again, I've only seen the first 2, but that is one of the strongest aspects of this show so far, is that it really, really feels like it's part of the 80s, and it's part of, I guess Star Wars Outlaws has that original trilogy feel too, but this, I don't want to say it feels nostalgic because I wasn't really allowed to watch Star Wars as a young kid. So, I don't really have that, like, ooh, I'm playing with light. And of course, I did this when I was an older kid and teenager. I had lightsaber fights. I have a bunch of lightsabers from Galaxy's Edge, but it's, it's that childlike feel to it, which I really think Star Wars hasn't really done before in a way, you know what I mean? Like, you get Neil, the blue elephant guy, which is not Max Rebo's species. You get Wim, you get KB, the girl with, like, Lobo's, or Lobot, not Lobo, Lobot, Lobo's DC, Lobot's weird effing visor. You got a Fern, you've got I think it's SM-33, which I think is a reference to Shmi or Smee from Peter Pan. So, it's got this childlike wonder to it where, oh man, they're studying and they're having speeder races and they're dealing with kid things, but then they also find this, this crazy spaceship looking thing in the earth, and Wim and everyone, and Fern and Neil and KB, they have to go in and kind of see what's going on. And then, of course, leads to episode 2 where they get, captured and all that fun stuff, and we meet I think his name is Jad something, something like that. It's Jod something, Jude Law's character. And that's pretty much where we're at. It is a bit of a slow start, but obviously you need that for the story to make sense. But so far, man, again, the music is great. I think it really captures that nostalgic 80s feel to it, which, again, I don't really know how to word it, but it genuinely feels like you're watching Goonies, but good. Like, I don't like Goonies. I know, kill me. But I think this kind of, not just because of Star Wars, but I think it's better made. This does, capture that sentimentality and that feel without being corny or cringy or whatever. Like, the kid acting is great so far, genuinely really good. In fact, I think the worst actor was Wim's dad, who we'll get to that in a minute, but I think, again, the music is great, the acting is really great for the most part, the CGI is great, obviously it's a Star Wars show, you're going to get the nitpickers, like, when the Acolyte happened, I think that was episode 1, right, when OSHA is, doing her tech mech or whatever, her thing, and there's a fire in space. People, oh my god, it was World War F3. Remember that? They were like, oh, there's fire! They freaked out. There can't be a fire in space. They broke the lore. No, actually, there have been fires in space countless effing times in Star Wars. I was just watching Clone Wars with my nanny and poppy. There's a freaking fire on a Venator, so, calm the fudge down. You know what I mean? There's fire all the time in Star Wars in space. So that's, you get those people that really do these crazy nitpicks. There was a nitpick where, I think, in the first episode where, the pirates invade and all that, and there's a big shootout in the station or whatnot, someone complained that the astronaut-looking people in space look kind of weird. People are freaking dumb, they're going to find all sorts of weird things to complain about. I don't really see that. So for me, I know it's all subjective, I guess, quote-unquote, but, CGI looked pretty good, I think. The acting was good, writing, music, all that. All the basic stuff, cinematography, action. There hasn't really been any fighting yet, but, all the basic stuff that you would need to make an objectively good movie or show, it's there. It's not like the music skipped a beat, or the writing's so atrocious, or the acting is so horrible, or the shots are misaligned, or, stuff like that. Stuff that, maybe have happened in Star Wars before, are not present here, which is nice, there's no, Padme, Queen Amidala cord plugged into the effing wall type thing, easy shit that you could easily just refilm and fix. There's no little dumb mistakes like that, which is really good, so far at least. Again, though, as far as negatives, my only real negative would just be Wim's dad. He's kind of I don't want to say a bad actor, but, when the spoiler alert, obviously, if you didn't figure that out by now, but, when the ship flies off in the end of episode 1, I'm not a dad yet, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but the, Wim and all the kids, they take off in the ship, and Wim's dad is kind of there just, looking like, Wim, and I'm like, dude, I get it, okay, I would probably say the name of my kid too, but he literally, I get it, okay, he's in the middle of the freaking woods, I'm not an idiot, but he literally just stands there and goes like, Wim, come back, and then the ship takes off, it's like, oh, fuck it, and he goes back to work, that's kind of how it is. I wouldn't have gone, overboard where he's, screaming and kicking up dirt and shit, but instead of just standing there like a block of wood, being like, Wim, they kind of fixed it in episode 2, where he's running and the droids are looking for the kids, and he's kind of like, hey, oh my god, my son, he's gone, we gotta go find him, let's go, let's get a ship, that was better. But episode 1, I don't know, I would have filmed that differently, but that is genuinely my only effing negative, man, really, that's my only negative. I think, it isn't focused on crazy action so far, right? Again, you're building the characters of these kids, right? Neil and Wim are kind of, studying for this exam to kind of figure out what they're going to do in life. You get KB, who's kind of a prankster, but she's more or less sweet and innocent, I guess. And then you get Fern, not Adventure Time Fern, but the girl Fern in this. She's kind of, I guess, like a lying a-hole so far. She really doesn't have many, I guess she has leader qualities that you can kind of see in episode 2, but, I do like that every kid is different. I think that's actually kind of cool. They're all obviously written different with different things going on. That's just the basis of normal storytelling that everything pretty much Star Wars has had, so that's nothing to be super happy about, but it's there and it works. Obviously we got that holiday special reference that I think Neil's what is it, like his brother or sister or something, his family members are watching, which is cool. So I like that. I don't think the holiday special is canon like the actual movie. People say the prequels are bad, sequels are bad. No. The holiday special, okay, that is the worst thing. One of the worst, and I'm not just saying this to say it. I have it. I bought it on DVD. It's one of the worst things I've ever effing watched in my entire life. I wasn't drinking when I watched it. I should have. Let me just say that, okay? I should have been having a lot of death sticks. But at the same time, going to something that's better, like Skeleton Crew, I do like that little Easter egg and reference they put in there. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. Like really, like it's everything Star Wars is fun. But, like Acolyte, for example, or Obi-Wan Kenobi, or Rise of Skywalker, Attack of the Clones, whatever. They're fun, but there's also, like, very, very serious. This kind of starts out with fun as in it's just innocent fun, you know what I mean? And yeah, it's rated PG. I don't really know why. I know every parent is different. I myself wouldn't let a little kid watch this. I think even the director and the creator was like, yeah, there's kids in this, but it's not a kid show. You know what I mean? It's pretty much the exact same rating as everything else for the most part. Obviously it's not super violent and brutal yet, but I mean, the show literally opens with a mass massacre in a freaking ship. Like, pirates are shooting people, they're getting shot in the eye, they're getting killed by a machete. It is very much not, a children's show, as some people think it is, because, people are dumb. People are shallow, right? They see animated. Oh, it's animated. That means it's for my toddler. Or they see, there's a child in this. Oh, there's a child? I have a child. Let me show my 3-year-old. You know what I mean? Like, that. People are dumb. I get it. Parenting has gone out the effing trash compactor. Okay, it's gone downhill. But at the same time, maybe it'll get more kid friendly. I don't know. I mean, it's not like ultra violent. It's not as brutal as most other Star Wars things so far, for a reason, right? They're not trying to be like, yeah, this one's for the babies, no, they have a specific story to tell, and they're doing that. But yeah, it does open with a pretty violent scene, but other than that, like, it looks great. It's shot really well. The acting is great. The writing is great. It's funny. It's fun. It's pretty much everything I would want from this, from watching the trailer and going, okay, I want it to be like that. That's what it is. Obviously, I don't know. Look, again, as someone who considers myself a real Star Wars fan and doesn't shit and hate on everything the second it's announced, and I actually, watch it or play it or read it, and I use my brain, with that being said, I actually really, really enjoyed it. You know what I mean? I was able to kind of, why is this character doing that? Oh, that's why, Just like Acolyte, just like Last Jedi, just like everything else, Attack of the Clones, New Hope, whatever. If I'm confused on something, there's probably a canonical explanation, like Ki-Adi-Mundi's age in the Acolyte. No, that's not lore-breaking, idiots. You know what I mean? Please pay attention to the lore. So it's really, really interesting that, it kind of has this feel to it that they didn't really hit before in Star Wars. Like, it's fun in a child innocent way. Like, Wim is trying to go to school and he crashes the bike, and there's like this mystery element to it, obviously with Aden, the planet, being very I guess modern-ish, kind of in a way. It feels like a normal, like, California suburban, like, neighborhood type thing, you know what I mean? And that's cool, right? We've never seen that before, and I think that's really interesting. It's awesome, right? Because, like, the Star Wars galaxy is so freaking big. Obviously, there's going to be more than just desert and jungle. I think that's kind of cool. So I like that. I like the fact that we're kind of getting hints from these pirates that, this planet at Aden is like some lost treasure planet. It's cool. Like I said, it's basically Goonies and what E.T. and every 80s amalgamation you could think of. They kind of poured it in a pot and then added the Star Wars, sugar in it, and it just poofed. But so, I mean, I don't want to count that as a negative because, yeah, Star Wars has a lot of influences, tons, millions probably. So I'm not going to say they, like, stole an idea, but it's at times it is dangerously close to feeling like a ripoff of Goonies or E.T., just with, blasters and Star Wars and stuff. You know what I mean? It isn't. It's close to it, though. I gotta say, it's almost walking that line for me where it feels like, like Ahsoka had an homage, right? Acolyte has homages. This feels like they straight up went, oh, Goonies, and just put that with Star Wars characters, So maybe it'll get less intense or less, in your face. But yeah, I mean, nothing woke, nothing crazy, nothing bad, nothing, extremely horrible where I'm like, oh man, I don't know about this, Again, though, as a Star Wars fan who can admit when things are not that great, I'm not pretending everything is perfect in Star Wars, but I do love it all, right? Like, there's a difference. I'm not a hater. I'm not gonna make some crazy thumbnail of Kathleen crying with someone DEI on the thumbnail or something. I genuinely love this franchise, and I want you all to know that. I am not saying it's perfect because it's Star Wars, right? I'm not that kind of biased fan. I have a lot of problems with Star Wars, specifically the prequels, but I still love them. You know what I mean? I love Star Wars, and I use my brain, and that way I can love it even more. It's like a superpower, you know what I mean? Instead of bitching online and saying this is horrible and they ruined my childhood, I think for a minute, and I do some research, and I do a Google, or I look at my book, or I do whatever, or I rewatch it, or I pay attention, and I get it. It's pretty easy. So I think it is really interesting that we're getting a new show. I really wish we were getting Acolyte Season 2. I really hope this does not get canceled like Acolyte. I don't think it will, but you never know. But yeah, it's good to see a majority of the fan base liking it. Normally, it's either I hate it or I love it. Again, pretty much everything since 2014 I've loved from Star Wars. There's a few things I don't, woke comic or a woke book in the High Republic era that I'm not too fond of, so stuff like that. But for the most part, everything we've been getting from Disney's purchase of Lucasfilm has been great. I think also people need to know that Disney does not make Star Wars. They just legally own it. Lucasfilm is still in charge. They're still making everything. So, yeah, but, all that out of the way, I think that these 2 episodes are really great. They have a good vibe, good atmosphere to them. It's unique. It's something we've never seen before in Star Wars. It's funny. It's entertaining. It's fun. It's innocent, except for the beginning, I guess, and it's just a fun adventure, It's going to be really cool to see how this progresses, how Jude Law's character kind of goes into the mix, and how he kind of helps or hinders the children in their way back home. I think it's really got a good plot, nothing crazy, it's definitely not as involved as Acolyte or Obi-Wan in terms of thematics and all that, but, it's a pretty simple story, but I think that's honestly what Star Wars needs. Not that they're in desperation of needing anything, I don't want that to get skewed. Star Wars does not need to change anything, but I think when I say it needs it, I mean that, it needs something to not only make the losers on the internet feel little joy, but just to make everyone have that joy, because I think, like, Star Wars is not in my opinion, not a kid franchise. It's very violent, very dark. There's sex jokes, there's, beheadings, bisection, blood, gore, you name it, language. It's a teenager adult franchise, and this one being, I don't even want to say kid-oriented because it's not, but, having that I guess, childlike wonder and innocence to this treasure that they're going to look, and all these things, it really is cool. Again, it's very unique, and I like it so far. So yeah, I'm almost pushing on 20 here, so I'm going to let you go. But yeah, tell me down below in the comments what you think about Star Wars Skeleton Crew. Again, don't spoil it in the comments. I know I spoiled it because it's a spoiler review, but some people look at the comments first and all that, so, don't write anything crazy down there. But yeah, let me know, man. If you genuinely hate it, you do you. I guess. I don't know how you could hate anything Star Wars, but whatever. I think it's great so far. Not perfect. Again, I think some of the acting, especially from the dad, is a little wonky. I would have done that a little bit differently, but other than that, I genuinely don't have many other complaints. I think it's fun. It's funny. It's lighthearted so far. It's got a really good adventure going. I'm hooked. I think you're going to see a lot of these Skeleton Crew reviews comparing this to The Acolyte. I loved The Acolyte. It's one of my favorite Star Wars shows. So when I say, oh, this one hooked me, I'm not saying Acolyte didn't hook me. Some people are like that, where they're like, this one's good, the other one's bad. I'm reviewing this show on this show. I'm not comparing this Skeleton Crew show to Acolyte, to the Book of Boba Fett, to the Clone Wars, to whatever. I'm reviewing it as it is here. So, as what it is here, and from what I was able to watch without these stupid freaking ads, I swear to God, Disney Plus has the worst ad placement in the world. It's in, like, the middle of sentences, and they're like a minute and a half every 2 minutes. It's crazy. But whenever I was able to actually watch the show and it wasn't buffering or giving me an ad for Breeze or toothpaste or something, I really enjoyed it. So I am genuinely excited to dive back into this world, into this show next. I believe every episode is on Tuesday. So yeah, man, I'm pumped. Hope you enjoyed the Star Wars Outlaws gameplay. I wish it was mine. It's not. I got too much homework to film gameplay, so I'm going to have a link for the gameplay down in the description down below for whoever I took it from, or borrowed from, I should say, with permission, because, hey, I'm shouting them out. But yeah, I think it's a great show so far, and I'm excited to see where it goes and what happens next. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.